Hello everyone, today we are going to go over the EPS Momentum platform. We will start with the navigation and then go a little deeper in all of the analytics that you have on this wonderful tool. So let's get started. So you land on the markets page, which is the page where you would monitor the benchmarks and sector and other things. You have quick links on the top where you can click on stock scanners, earning momentum, time momentum, stock drift, power days, earnings. So there are unique tools that you can see here, and we're adding more and more of them every week, to be honest. Okay, so let's start with this. So the benchmarks, you have all the major benchmarks around the world, all the ETFs that represent those countries. You have the S&P, Nasdaq, Dow Jones, Russell. Then you have gold, Bitcoin, oil, and then other ETFs. Obviously, you can have a monitor that replicates that or configure this the way you want. The nice thing about this is, well, first you can track what they've been doing over the last 5 days very quickly, over the last 20 days or since the beginning of the year. You also have the volatility, so a measure of the max drawdown possible in those index or the risk, to be honest. And then you have a couple of indicators that tells you if the trend is there or not. So we'll go over them, but there's the trend, the price trend, which is the underlying in a trend, in an uptrend, consolidation phase, or in a downtrend. Then you have the price momentum. So the price momentum is either heading, so that's the slope of the price momentum. It's telling you if it's heading upward or downward. So that is very useful. And then you have the power days. So the power days is really, and we'll go into details, is how we measure major player entering into the underlying and defining a trend. Then the volatility signal. So when it's weak, you could expect that it's the calm before the storm type of scenario. So very quickly I can see which index is up or down or heading up or down and so on. We have market news quickly, just to give you a rough idea of what's happening right now. So that's pretty self-explanatory. We have much more refined news tags on the news panel. So you'll see it's very powerful. The sector view is the same as above, but on the sector, the 11 spider sectors. And again, same thing, which sector is heading up or down and so on. You have the ability to monitor the actual rotation, sector rotation. So what we have here is the 11 little small charts of each sector. So you can see the technology is up here, XLC is up, XLU, utilities, financials, industrial, Stipples down, and so on. But what you can do is you can obviously change the horizon over 1 year. So this is the 1 year chart, and you can normalize on this chart literally real time. So as I move my mouse over, I can see, since the beginning of January, the 1st of January, I can see the performance of every stock. So industrial up, XLK, XLC. If I want to remove any of these, I can just click on one and it will shut it off. So if I want to remove these utilities and real estate, I only focus on a few I can see. So this is very important. So on a year basis, but also on 15 days basis. So the last 15 days. So now into the hour level. So it tells you which sector is winning. So it looks like here the technology is in yellow, and then there's this turn here around this area where sector rotates. So it went from technology going up to technology going down, and now it's XLV, XLI, XLE, more in fashion. So it's very useful to size your opportunity and position it wherever you want it to be. We can flip to ratio. So this is super powerful. This is the ratio to the SPY, and for that we'll do it on a 60-day. And on the 60-day, you can see out of the last few days which sector has been overperforming the S&P. right? So I can see the XLK has been overperforming, but if I look at the last few days, not really. It's more conservative XLU, XLRE that have been outperforming. So very useful to see where to start, which sectors to start with, and that's truly a unique tool. And then we can go into stock scanner. You can click on stock scanner here or just get there. And then this is the very powerful stock scanners that we have on the platform, and we keep adding these scanners. So there's a fundamental piece on the left and a price action based piece on the right. So the classic most up, most down. So you can quickly switch from one to the next. You can also look at large cap, mid cap, small cap, or just even ETF, or just all stocks. And you can see what's up for the day. All stocks, obviously you have small caps here, but if I want to stick to large mid cap, this is what I'm getting for most down, or up volume, down volume, and so on. So that's the volume ratio, very useful. I have the 52-week high, 52-week lows. I have the power day positive breakout. So this is really stocks that are breaking out. Any stock you click on, you're going to get a chart on the side. So this is our quote that lets you monitor some information about the stock. We have two versions of this quote. We have the basic quote that you can see here. And then we have the extended quote, which is the advanced quote there, which can also contain charts if you want to. And you can enlarge this very nicely by clicking on the focus button. That helps you make it big screen or medium screen or whatever, and you can resize any of those screens. We'll go into the advanced quote in a second. There again, on the fundamentals, again, there's relative strength, very strong prices, very strong price move stocks, Wall Street favorites based on analyst recommendations, price target raised or lowered, and you can see these stocks here. Relative weakness, really getting a little bit negative on some stocks, or capital efficiency, so based on ROE or ROIC, and you can pick on any of these. So again, we keep adding those scanners, those fundamental scanners, and then we go into our very famous timing momentum and earning momentum. So you have two, I'll say, showcase scanners. One is on any of those four variables, so it's earning momentum, time momentum, updrift, and power days. So timing momentum, we'll spend some time on this. It's really helping you time your investment. So first, pick a great stock. I would start with the earning momentum, where you really want stocks that have great earning momentum. So if I go into liquid US, I take all the US stocks, I see EM30. So the EM score is a score between minus 50 and plus 50. Shows up on the chart, and you can see it here on the chart. And whenever I click on the name, LPLA here, I can see EM31, EM13, EM3. I can see it, and I can see that anything above 0 is amazing. Anything above 20 is extraordinary. And obviously 20, 28, or 30 these are the best guys out there on that specific metric. Timing momentum is really all these indicators that are all stacked up here, and I'll show you in the chart in a second. Very powerful to see the green light, red light type of thing. You have it here also. So timing momentum here is red, meaning there are some of these trend, price momentum, RMR slope that are positive or negative. So that turns out red. This is green on the fundamental piece. So this is earning momentum and time momentum. So very quickly you get a clear picture whether it's a yes or no. Is it a good stock? Yes. Is it a good time? No. So super simple. Really, it couldn't be any simpler than a green and a red light. So that's it. And then we have the obviously the drift. So that's probably one of the most popular functionality on our system. The ability to forecast prices going forward. So we'll spend some time on this. Then we go into earning news. So what's happening in earnings, what's going on. See, we start to see some tags here, and we have even more powerful things coming up. And then the week, earning report week. So what's reporting every day, the earning calendar, very, very useful. So once you're done with the markets page, you can go into monitor. So the monitor is really, I want to look at a stock, one chart in the middle, a monitor on the side, and then a quote on the side or some other information. So I mentioned the timing momentum. So this is the timing momentum where I can monitor the EM on the chart, the earning momentum. So I can take Microsoft, for example. I look at Microsoft, and then what do I get here? I get a very, very nice rally here. By the way, the rally has been has started on the 24th of April with that trend. Let me scale this down. So trend indicator turned green here. Actually start consolidating and then turn green. After that, get a price momentum slope, which is the price momentum, so the acceleration of the price turning green. After that, you get the relative market rank, so the relative strength of the stock, turning green as well. The earning got better from -12, it went to -6, so which is better. Power days turn green on that specific day, and you can click on it. It was a 7 standard deviation move, so pretty significant. And then the EMA 2050, so the EMA 20 crossed the 50 upward, so that's green and positive. What happens next is history, of course, but you know, it shows you the power of picking the right stock and get the right timing. So if you go back in history, you can see how the timing momentum has fared over time. You can see like the beginning of the rally here, where at least 3 or 4 indicators turn green about here at 3:23, and then it's on all the way to this guy who starts turning red. Then 3 of them turn red, and it does kind of plateau for a while, and then rallies again where 1, 2, 3 turn green. The power days here is really turning green there, telling you that that's the beginning of the trend, and then the trend carries on and is very, very strong. So this is how powerful these indicators are on the chart. There's many things here. We can spend some time, an entire hour, going over all these data sets and signals, but for now I want to show you the breadth of all the tools. So I mentioned the quote on the side, so I can look at the quote, enter the chart, historical chart, price action, max drawdown, key data point, so the PE trailing 12 months, but a PE forward 12 months. So that's based on estimates. And you can also see the peer multiple. So you can see Microsoft and then the competitors of Microsoft, PE, forward PE, long-term growth, and PEG trailing 12 months. So you can really compare to the sector. Obviously, there's some abnormal point or smaller caps there, but you get the point. You get the target price mean from the street, analyst recommendation. Anything close to 1 is best, and 5 is a sell. 1 is a strong buy. So that's 1.23, so it's extremely good. 30 days ago it was 1.28, now it's 1.23, so it's improving. You can see a couple of financial metrics here. You can see the news. You should be able to see financial data, and that's it. So if we're going to an advanced quote, you have more information. You have the all the momentum and time momentum piece, so the RMR slope, the power days, the volatility, and then you have the very key earning information. So the year-on-year quarterly change of earnings is 17%, the acceleration is 7%, the EPS growth is 12%, it beat by 26% on earning per share. Same for sales, 1% sales acceleration, and it beat 2.46%. The revision score, which is our revision estimate score, is 64% since the earning day, which is pretty amazing. that means that all the analysts have revised up their estimates very significantly since it published its earnings. So it's pretty impressive. So yeah, like a bunch of other information here, and yeah, you can really get and we're gonna keep adding more information there. But yeah, this is a very good snapshot. Really give you the meat of what to know about a stock, and then we'll have also descriptive information and market information. So it'll be pretty thorough. Again, type in any stock here. So if I want to add Target to my monitor, I click on Target. I add Target, pretty easy. So now it sits here. I can click on any monitor. It obviously refreshes on, any ticker, and it refresh the thing straight away. What I can do as well is I can obviously insert a chart. I can insert and call it like more of a basic chart. So instead of advanced chart, I'm going to create a light chart, and I'm going to make it very small and put it at the bottom here. So here I have a quote, and here I have a chart. So whenever I click on a name, it refresh everything. But what I'll do is I'll link it to a different color. So notice the color here, black, and this is red. So it doesn't, it will not link if I click on the ticker. So if I click JP Morgan, this one doesn't refresh, right? So I can type the S&P in there, monitor the S&P here during the day or end of day or during the day, and monitor the S&P and still look at my stock. So I can build my entire screen like this and insert another chart very easily. Let's say I want to put it here at the bottom. There you go. I want to make it basic, light chart, and here it is. And let's say this time I want to pick a different link. I want to pick a link, say green, and here I want to put I don't know, Microsoft, for example. There you go. So whenever I click on Nvidia, for example, these two refresh, not the other two, and I can monitor Microsoft and the S&P and Nvidia at the same time. All right, so you've understood by now that it's really flexible. You can build your own screen and save it. So it will not save in those 3 tabs because those 3 tabs are set in stone, but it will save on the 4th, which is Analysis, Master, or any one. So if I click on plus here, I can create an additional dashboard. Only if you're gold, you have the ability to create as many dashboard as you want, dashboard 1, dashboard 2, and then you can customize your view as you wish. So that is very powerful. You can also save your monitor. I can have 3, 4, 5, 10 monitors if I'm gold, and that's obviously very handy. How do I change the columns on the monitor? Very quickly, I have columns here, like a settings box. I can click on focus and then focus on the monitor, and then let's say I want to add volume, for example. Here you go, that's the volume. You also have the ability to do volume today, 1 day ago, 2 day ago, 3 day ago, and you can create several columns out of this. Or you can have the ratio of the short to the average volume, right? How much is there some shorts from the average 20-day volume? That's one thing. Or the days to cover, for example. It should be somewhere along short data days to cover. It's already there. Sorry about that. It's already in the middle here. Well, now I'll just put it here. So, and then you can sort by days to cover, and 4.76 day for IBM. So there's quite a sizable chunk of shorts there, which is interesting. If you want to delete a column, you just click here and then delete anything you want. Click on any column and delete the P ratio, for example. But any fundamental data or anything is here. So say PE, P ratio, you can get all this, or earning per share, growth, you can get that. It's really easy to set it up. Once you're done, you just save the monitor. So you name it, and let's say I'll call it test. and then I click on Save Monitor, and it will save Test Monitor saved. All right, I'm done with the focus on this. I have my monitor that is set up. Now I want to go to a screener. So on the screener, it works the same way. Again, very, very powerful tool here. You will start with a screener full of columns, which you can quickly delete if you want. So if you want to delete, I don't know, the ROE or anything. So there's 5 parts. So category, field, columns, filter, and results. So categories, easy. So balance sheet, income statement, price analytics, and so on. Fields, any fields you want there, and we're adding a lot of fields as they come. But we've seen earning momentum, so we can add the power days, for example. Power day trend is already here. We can add the last power days, Odin day from the power days. And this is the number of days. So if you want a definition, you click on this and you click on definition. This is the number of power days in the last 10 days. And you can see the value here. So that tells you that there's really a battle in the last few days for example, this stocks. And obviously we can insert a chart and put the signal on power days. Remove the timing momentum, for example, and maybe make it a little bit smaller. We're gonna grab it and make it at the bottom here. There you go. So now I can see those last 4 power days here. What happened here is there's a significant battle that happened here in the drop, and then the winner is actually the bulls, because they're pushing the price up after this. So pretty sizable drop and then pushed by the bulls. All right, so this is the screener. I can go into balance sheet item. So let's see, just remove this balance sheet item, total revenue, total capital, total equity, long-term debt, short-term debt, and so on. Income statement. We also have ratios and multiples. For example, debt to equity ratio, pretty useful. So this is the column set. So here I want to set up my columns. So let me just remove a bunch here so we get some room. And this is the debt to equity ratio from Q, so the last quarter, but I can have the last full year. So I have both of them, right? And here I can filter and say, well, I want the last full year to be between 0 and 100%, not more, right? I don't want too much debt. So I'm going from 4,500 stocks to 3,075. So pretty powerful already. This is great, and I can go on and on and on with everything. EBITDA to interest expense, EBITDA growth, EPS surprises. So I want to see if there's any surprise there on the last quarter. Yes or no, you see it here. And then filter on it if I want. Once you're done with this, you can save it. So you click on Save Screen. It's screener free, but we can call it Test. And then I click on Save Screen, and the screener is saved as Test. And that's great. So what we recently released is the score. So the score is out, or about to be out. It's really off the press here. But what it lets you do is you have your earning momentum, you have your P ratio, and your ROE. And let's say we want your debt to equity ratio here, and I want the annual to be the lower the better. Obviously, the less debt, the better, right? The ROE, the higher the better. The P ratio, actually, I would want the lower the better, and the earning momentum, the higher the better, right? And what I do here is I equal weight everything. So this is 25, 25, 25. It should be 100. It should sum up to 100, which it does. But you can override it. So let's say I want, 30% here. This is 105, so it's a little too much there. I want the P ratio to be 20, right? And now I'm down to 100, and then I can run it. So I can run the score, and then the score present the result very nicely. One major column at the top gives you the stock that has the best EM, the lowest PE, the highest ROE for the last quarter, and the lowest debt to equity, right? So KROS, Kairos Therapeutic, right? So that's one. Altera Bio Therapeutic. And obviously we can restrict on market cap and prices. We get a lot of names here. We get several thousand names. So it's pretty deep, but it has scored all of the variables. So you can see in gray the columns that are scoring the variable. You have the ability to enlarge the panel mode to freeze mode. So we panel freeze the first column here, and now I can just navigate through all the columns and they're displayed a little bit in a more clear layout. I can also remove the name here. It takes a lot of space. And then we get total score. We can see that this guy is the best or the cheapest PE KNSA. We can look it up, and let's see his P ratio. Yeah, he has a P actually negative something, so that's actually maybe not that good. So what we can do is we can go back to the screener and take the P ratio, the P ratio trailing 12 months, and we want to filter on stocks that only have a positive P ratio. That'd be a good start, right? And then we go back to the score and run the score, and from there, now let's see if we get better names. We've weed out guys that don't have great PE, that have negative PE actually. And what do we get? There you go, 12. This one's number 12, IMMR. Let's see the PE. Yeah, so we get well 3.34. There's very little debt to equity, and it's obviously a small price stocks, small cap as well, but I can reduce the market cap in the same way I just did with the PE. I can filter for it. So very powerful to run the score this way. It helps you not only filter but also hone in on the best stocks depending on your criterias, which is difficult if you just have a screener. But if you have a score, it scores it all, and it gives you the middle ground in between all of your factors. So that's very important. So now let's go into an analysis. Oh, by the way, before I leave, what you can do from the screener, go back here, click on the score, and run it again. You can run another score. I didn't save it, but you can save it. But what you can do is you can right click and say add to monitor, and you can add to any monitor that you want here. Let's say test. And then I can go to analysis. So this is a dashboard that I have, and I can run the monitor called test. And here I have all my stocks, including the one I just added, which was I think AVGO. And I can click on it, and then I get the news for the day on AVGO. I get a full advanced description, and I can look at it thoroughly. The news piece is pretty intense as well. So if we spend 1 minute on it, you have the ability to filter on all the stocks, top 500 stocks, or other stocks. So this is focusing on just AVGO, so just Broadcom. And these ones, for example, I can click on top 500. I only have the news for the top 500 stocks or others. And then I have a series of things that I can use. I have drop down and category. So let's say I only want all the news about earnings. So I can click on earnings or analyst view, and I can click on that, apply, and then you see you have subsections here where you have the ability to see earnings, analyst view, and so on. So it's all very, very nice. If I pull up, I remove these categories, and I pull up some other things. Okay, this is brief, so let me just apply this. Let me just type in AVGO. I want to focus on the name. It'll reset on the name. And then I can go into category and say, is there any partnership news on AVGO, right? And we'll go into partnership. It'll tell me the date, and it'll tell me also the positive or negative. So yeah, pretty much have the double plus, single plus, double minus or minus. You know, good news, super good news, bad news, and super bad news. So that's really useful. So if you go back to all news, you can filter on this metric, and it's pretty powerful. So I'll let you play around with it. I can switch to the master, where here I'm going to analyze the stock in deeper and greater depth, I would say. You have another set of tools that I haven't even introduced yet. We've seen the chart, and it's very powerful, and there's going to be a full video on the chart and all these data sets and signal, which is pretty awesome here. You can see the dark shorts here, which is the dark pool trades that are piling in and fooling the bull run. You can see whether it's in great timing, so now it looks like a turnaround and going negative. This is the estimates revisions going down, and this is the earning per share going down as well. So although stocks have been rallying, it doesn't look as rosy when you look at the estimates. Now the other thing that I have on the side here is the earning analysis. So the earning analysis lets you look at the earnings, and I can enlarge that a little bit. Look at the earnings, the street level earnings. So really, what you want to see for technology company. 1.94 is the last earning per share. The previous one was 165. And the change between the two numbers is 17. And the acceleration as a deceleration is 208. And this is what we're seeing here is the stocks have been growing, the earning per share has been growing a lot, but growing less, growing to a lesser extent in the last 2 quarters. That's what we're seeing here, like a downturn. And we can pick another name, let's say AVGO. Sorry. And on AVGO, what do we get? We get little different numbers, of course. So 43% growth in earning per share. This is earning per share. Acceleration of minus 182, so it's kind of flattening. So this is important. Next thing you want to see is the EPS BNRI. So before non-recurring items. So it's kind of similar to the EPS street level, but for non-technology company, they're both the same. It's just another granularity, I would say. If you use for technology company, use EPS, but if you use for any other company, use BNRI. That'll be good enough. And then you have all the results. You also have the surprise. So it has surprised everyone over the last 3 quarters, but not this quarter, right? But the important thing is profit margin and free cash flow as well. So profit margins are here. What was the growth in the profit margin? So 30, 36, 33. What was the free cash flow growth? 13 billion, 12 billion. So it's growing a lot, but a little less than the previous quarter. So you can see the free cash flow here. So it's really, really powerful. If I scroll down a little bit, actually I'm going to put some focus on that widget altogether. This is the revision score, so the estimates revision score, and the estimates revision score for sales. This is for earning per share, and this is for sales. And it tells you since the earning day or 90 days ago if it has been up or down. And this is basically the shape of this curve here. If it's all these two curves going up, so the sales in yellow and the EPS in green, or the price and the price, so you can remove the price because we know the price, and you can see it, heading north in a nice fashion. The good thing here is we have two different sources, one from Zacks and one from FinHub, so it gives you the ability to have two different opinions and switch between one another, so source 1 and source 2. They're all pointing upward in a nice fashion, but should you have sometimes divergence in between the two, you would see it by flicking that switch here. And now I want to look at the competitors. What are the revision score for EPS and sales for all the competitors of AVGO, NVIDIA, TSM, AMD, and so on. So I can see, I got a pretty good picture for NVIDIA and for TSM and so on. And the price has been up since the earning date. Now, this consensus here is telling you if the analysts are agreeing with each other. So the standard deviation for estimates. So this is the estimates going forward for a specific quarter, for the first 4 quarters. There's more quarters. We have all the estimates here, so you can view it on the table. But here you have the standard deviation. We can do it quarterly or annually. It tells you if it's if they are all in agreement. So when it tends to go to close to zero or very close to zero, means that standard deviation is pretty thin. Thin meaning everyone agrees with the consensus, right? If it's wide, that means you have some issues, and there's always spikes before earnings or during earnings of disagreement. So analysts go all the way to 3 or 4 standard deviation of disagreement. One analyst is producing an estimate of 1, the other one producing an estimate of 2.5, so they're far apart from each other. And you can see the dispersion on the chart here, so 0.585 for the quarter and for the year if there is any. And here you monitor the change for earning per share or sales. You have the change in percentage or in value, and you have the different sources as well, source 1 or 2. So it's pretty thorough here. All this information can be found in the screener, so you can filter for EPS, RS change in actual value, and this is extremely powerful. This lets you filter on the fundamental piece that moves during the quarter, intra-quarter, which is the estimates. That's really unique. The second thing I want to talk about is the drift, so the drift forecast. So the drift is probably one of our key feature. What it does, so let me just X out of these two so we get more space here. So the drift is the 90-day price forecast for a stock. So if I pull up Amazon and I pull up 20 quarters or 40 quarters, I have the ability to run 40 quarters back and 20 quarters back. So what does it do? It does the following. So it takes the chart, it takes 10 years of history for the stock, and take all of those 40 quarters back. Let me just clear that up here. It takes all these quarters, 20 or 40 quarters, right, and stack them up in quarter A, B, C, or D. So let me just put the focus back on here. And what it means is it takes the first 24 hours of trading after earning and bucket them into drift A, B, C, or D, and give you an idea of give you an idea of which bucket it is. So one is negative underreaction, the other one is negative overreaction, the other one is positive overreaction and positive underreaction. Drift A is obviously the best one because that means the move overnight is positive and the move during the first day of trading is positive as well. So yeah, this is very useful to bucket all the quarters together. So you can see out of the 40 quarters, the sample is 8 quarters out of 40, 16 out of 40. For C, we have 9 out of 40 and 10 out of 40, right? And then you have the accuracy. So the accuracy on Drift A is 25%. That means that every time we produce a Drift A, we feel that there's only 25% chance that it will fall in that range. Here, you see it's highlighted in yellow. This is the Drift B. So we're in Drift B here for Amazon, right? Because they moved up and then down during the day, up overnight and down during the day. So what does that mean? That means that this is the potential drift drawn in green, yellow, and red. The up band, mid band, and minimum band. So min, max, and mean. So price should go over that region, and it kind of did. So it is going to finish right there in that zone here. So we can forecast prices of any stock going forward 90 days. And you can see in history how it panned out. So if I pull up, on October 24th, we can see it finishing right in to the day. This one finishing right in, almost close to the middle. This one in the middle, and so you can see in. Let's see the out here. This one is out. Let's see how out it was. Look, it was out, but by not that much, right? And so there's a lot of ends here in. So we go back to the current drift, and so already very useful. Why? Because this is Amazon, so it hasn't published recently. But if you pull up TSM, for example, we get a different picture. So TSM just reported at the beginning of the quarter, we have that range here. So that range is pretty wide, right? So two ways to reduce that wide range. Instead of looking at 40 quarters, look at 20. Now we're talking. This is Drift D. That's 5 samples out of 20, which is not a lot. Accuracy is 52%, and the average move is 27%. So usually during that quarter, it goes up 27%, which is interesting. Then what can we do? We can look at the standard deviation. So this is the standard deviation of the entire data set. So this data set is looking like it is pointing for 260.69 to a 358 one standard deviation region where the stock is most likely going to go, 313 being the mean. So that is already super useful. What I can also do is, instead of doing a post-earning announcement drift, I can do a seasonal drift. So that will take the quarter and run the Q2, Q3, Q4 quarter and just stack them up and just average them up, right? And for that, I need 40 quarters. There you go. So we see a 266. This is a 260 and 299. So the seasonal effect would be between 220 and 299. So above 260 is the region where both the seasonal and the post-earning announcement drift are pointing to, which is very interesting and very useful. Here you have all occurrences of all the quarters, the 40 quarters that we've set up there, and we can switch to 20. It says 20 instead of 40. So it's a little bit of a mess, you would think, but actually you can see the different path. So the blue ones are the last 4 quarters, so 1, 2, 3, 4. obviously this was a very, very good quarter, the best quarter. And the yellow line, you can see it right here, is the current quarter. So it looks like the current quarter is heading for the south route, like all the other three blues. And there is a turn in about 15 to 20 day that allows some quarters to go above, but otherwise we're heading for that mid region here, or very unlikely that down path. So it's very useful to see where are all the quarters and how they've been doing, and that is extremely powerful, specifically if you trade options, where you have the underlying and you can put your strike level or short or go long. Again, very, very useful. Okay, so we've covered the drift, we've covered the earning analysis. We can have chat rooms as well. So chat rooms are live, and you can just click on chat, and then you have the ability to chat with people every day. So you get your other investors trading with each other in the chat room. You have several chat rooms: bronze, silver, and gold chat room. You also have a support, so if you have any question, you can ask your question in support, and then we'll answer it, no problem. So we've covered all of these. I would say the financial numbers pretty self-explanatory there, but and you can look them up. But yeah, I mean, I hope this was useful for you to get an overview of the platform. Again, you can click on the ticker, analyze it, slice and dice it. You can also navigate inside this little inverted triangle here, where you can say, give me the news on that name, or give me a chart on that name. It's quick navigation for that specific ticker. All right, I hope it was useful, and let us know if you have any question, and enjoy the usage of the platform, and make some good investment. Thank you very much for your time.